Well, with countries around Europe slowly starting to open, there could be some hope for Americans dreaming of crossing the Atlantic this summer. European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen says U.S. tourists fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will soon be able to visit the European Union. That announcement coming more than a year after the EU first stopped all non-essential travel to the EU. Dave Keating is keeping an eye on this story for us from Brussels. He joins me now for more. Dave, what exactly did Ursula von der Leyen have to say about American tourists coming into the EU this summer, and when?
Well, President von der Leyen gave really the first indication from a high EU level that that ban is going to end soon. This has been a big question because the EU has banned non-EU citizens from entering this bloc for over a year now, except for a very short list of exempted countries such as Canada. And there was a question over whether that ban could possibly end this year, that maybe it wouldn't end until next year, 2022. So now we have an indication that the Commission will recommend this. That is really, really great news for potential tourists and for the economies, particularly of the southern European countries, which really depend on tourism. On an individual level, it's great news for people. I'm American, I live here in Europe, and it is really, really welcome that my friends and family might be able to come see me again. With one big caveat, they have to be vaccinated. That's what von der Leyen said, that Americans could come in if they can prove they've been vaccinated. So the big question is, how do they prove it? The EU right now is working on this digital vaccine passport. It doesn't look like it could be ready to recognize vaccine certificates from other countries by the start of the summer session. But there's talk about kind of doing it manually, that maybe an American would arrive at the border and have their American vaccine certificate recognized by the border guard, who would then issue them an EU vaccine certificate. That all still needs to be worked out. But it should be noted that this isn't President von der Leyen's decision to make. She can only make a recommendation. This will have to be a decision for the governments of the EU. This is an entirely nationally sovereign decision when it comes to external borders. The EU 27 countries did agree together to ban the Americans a year ago, so we could hope that they would also coordinate a decision to end that ban. Certainly some countries have indicated they're ready to do that no matter what the EU says, Greece in particular. So we'll see if that happens. But I think the US is kind of the obvious choice here because they're speeding ahead so much with vaccination. The big question is going to be for other countries. Let's say India, for example, which we just heard the report of how worrying the situation is there. Would an Indian citizen who's been vaccinated be able to come into the EU? That may turn into a decision that's taken individually by individual countries and could vary. And that poses a problem because, of course, we know this is a free travel area. Once you're in the EU Schengen area, you can go to any other country.
Right. Well, what about those of us who are already within the European Union? What about traveling within EU borders this summer?
This is the area where the EU does have a say. Technically, it is illegal for one EU country to ban access to an EU citizen coming from another EU country. But there is an exemption to that for emergency health reasons, and many countries have been using it. So the idea is that this digital vaccine passport is meant to completely reopen travel within Europe this summer, within the EU, I should say. And that complete reopening also means the countries shouldn't be requiring quarantines or testing. It's designed to make that travel as easy as possible. That if you've been vaccinated, an EU country cannot require an EU citizen to go through a quarantine or through testing. But of course, for external citizens, like Americans, they still could. So that's the scenario we're looking at for the summer.
Thanks, Dave, for that. Dave Keating there reporting for us from Brussels.